8 months after the devastating Pacific Palisades fire reduced much of Los Angeles to ashes, we're learning about possible failures that led to the worst wildfire in California's history. NewsNation exclusively obtained documents that revealed missteps by officials in California. All those missteps contributed to the catastrophic losses. 12 people died as a result of the Palisades fire. The total economic cost is between $18 and $20 billion for insured losses alone. President Trump was asked about how Governor Gavin Newsom handled the Palisades fire during an Oval Office press conference Wednesday afternoon. When asked if Congress should investigate claims of negligence, here's how the president responded.
They send the water out to the Pacific Ocean, so I demanded it be open. If that were open during the fire, before the fire, you wouldn't have had the fire because all the sprinklers would have worked in the houses. They had no water. As to investigation, I view it as a gross incompetence. I view it as an ideology that's wrong.
NewsNation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh reviewed those documents. Rich, what did you learn?
Hi, Elizabeth. There were failures across the board. Before the fire, certainly during the fire, and after. We're learning of disturbing missteps that ultimately led to 12 people losing their lives and 7,000 structures being destroyed. When the Palisades fire started on January 7th, Michael Valentine was one of the first to see it. He shot these videos as his wife called 911, and he waited and waited for help to come.
I did not see any firefighters up there.
Why do you think that is?
That's the question. I don't know. I wish I knew the answer to that. I have no idea. I have no idea why that is.
Today, his home is gone, and Valentine is among the thousands suing the state and the city.
Wow. At least the stoop is still here.
And that's where it started, right?
Yes, exactly.
Or just beyond that?
Just beyond that, yeah. But that's roughly where it started.
We're here on the Skull Rock Trailhead, where authorities believe simmering embers from a New Year's Eve fire ultimately was the start of the January 7th fire, the Palisades fire that swept down this ridge, ultimately taking 7,000 structures before it was finished. All the while, the Santa Ynez Reservoir over there sat empty. Shortly before the fire started, Governor Gavin Newsom pre-deployed hand crews and 110 fire trucks to Southern California.
And none of those went to Pacific Palisades. They
Not
went elsewhere.
one?
Not one went to Pacific Palisades. We had a brush fire within 5 days prior to the Palisades fire starting. So the first place you should pre-deploy, in my view, is you'd send them to where you had a recent fire, and that didn't happen. Nor did any National Guard troops arrive at the Palisades fire site before the fire started.
Roger Bailey represents over 3,000 Palisades victims suing the state of California, Los Angeles, and the LA Department of Water and Power. Internal records Bailey has obtained show what he believes are massive failures. While the Santa Ynez Reservoir sat empty, LADWP was supposed to put the Palisades Reservoir into service. That never happened. And on the day of the fire, documents show that LADWP acknowledged they should have de-energized the grid.
We had independent spot fires starting all over the Pacific Palisades after the main fire started, burning down homes, burning down neighborhoods. Had the power been turned off, those spot fires would have been avoided.
And then they tried to cover their tracks.
The person that was supposed to shut the power off didn't arrive until much later in the day. And when he finally arrived, he determined that he couldn't shut the power off and the fire was at the back door and he had to leave. About 3 weeks later, that same technician goes back into the log records and changes the time that he said he arrived from 6 o'clock in the evening back to 1:45 in the afternoon, a change of about 5.5 hours.
If you had to characterize the state and the city's response to these fires on January 7th, what would you say?
Incompetent. This is just the redefining incompetence. This is what you'd expect to see in a third world country. You don't expect to see this in the United States or in the state of California.
Never in a million years would have I suspected that the city and the LADWP would seek to manufacture facts to fit their narrative in order to avoid liability. It's absolutely disgusting.
Now, CAL FIRE just confirmed to me that they did not pre-deploy any fire trucks to the Palisades before the fire. We are still awaiting comment from LADWP. We're also hearing that a Senate investigation into all of this is imminent. Elizabeth?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.